We're talking today with Sam Loth, independent consultant coordinating the Sinking Spring Revitalization Committee. Sam, thanks for taking time today.
It's my pleasure, thank you.
I can tell just from the couple of minutes that we've been talking that you're passionate about this project. Tell me the potential that you see for Sinking Spring.
Well, you know, the problem that exists here, or the challenge, if you will, is that we have an underperforming central business district. And the reason for that has to do with the historic setting of the roadways that come together in the central business district.
Right.
On both sides, both at Shillington Road coming into Penn Avenue and also Old Fritztown Road, Columbia Avenue, coming into Penn Avenue. And these roads come in at angles instead of at straight right angles. They come in at 45-degree angles, and also from the north and south on both sides, they come in at a juxtaposition. Here you have Mull Avenue that comes down here, and you have Shillington Road that comes up here, and you've got basically about 150 feet between the two roads that intersect Penn Avenue. And what happens is, in order to move traffic through in each direction, you need 8 cycles on the traffic signal. And 8 cycles is twice as long as the typical right angle traffic signal. So as a result, you get this huge backup in traffic.
It's absurd. So what's the fix?
The fix is to actually change the intersections. And although very expensive and very difficult to do, we need to put a right angle intersection in where Shillington Road and Mull Avenue intersect Penn Avenue. And the same thing that goes for about a quarter mile, it's not even a quarter mile, maybe 1,000 yards, down here where Old Fritztown Road or Columbia Avenue comes in and Kakusi come into Penn Avenue. It's the same situation. Right. So on both ends, you have turkey feet that just don't handle modern traffic. You need to change it.
How much will all that cost?
We're looking at roughly $6 to $8 million to do this one, and that one over there is a little less, maybe $4 to $6 million. It's essentially a $10 to $12 million project, when all said and done.
Right.
And it's an expensive project, obviously, and it's very difficult, especially in today's world, to find that kind of money. Whether it comes from, even if it were to come from the federal government, which is doubtful, we would expect that it would take years and years. So we're approaching the process as an economic development project rather than just a traffic calming project. So in order to make it valuable and to make it credible and to make it productive, we are promoting to leaders throughout the region, including the county commissioners and so on, the notion that once you solve the traffic problem, all of this acreage along Penn Avenue and also all the way back to the railroad tracks, which is about 20 plus acres or so, becomes productive land.
Becomes much more attractive to potential investors.
Correct. And we are also including, as you can see, we're also including an extension of the Columbia Avenue right across, so you create a ladder effect, which allows for people on the southwest side to get to the southeast side without actually having to go on Penn Avenue. They can go through this extension road, or it's almost like a back road, okay? And the intent would be, as an economic development project, the intent would be to make that road into a new downtown, okay? So all of this land would become a new downtown center with new stores, and new apartments, live, work, play spaces, parks, and a number of other amenities that would turn it into a downtown. We don't have a downtown at Sinking Spring.
Now, you have some experience with working on revitalizing downtowns in other places that you've been. What makes you think that people want to, that there's interest long term in wanting to live and work in a downtown like this? Aren't we so rooted in suburbia and cars that this kind of thing is almost a quixotic, tilting at windmills?
Prevailing wisdom is that people want to move out to the suburbs, but the bottom line is economics are changing the world around us. you have, at this point, after 40 years of suburban sprawl and development, you have people who moved from the city center out to these bucolic suburbs who were in their 20s and 30s, who are now in their 60s and 70s. Their children have already been raised. Their children have moved back to the cities where the action is. The young people want to be in the cities where the action is. And the people like myself, the older people who have lived in the suburbs and who have thrived there, essentially, don't want to be there anymore. Why? Well, we need to take a car everywhere we go, and gas is now not 50 cents a gallon anymore. It's now $4.50 a gallon in many places. So, and it's not going to get any better, let's face it. So people like me are saying, what do I need this big house for? What do I need to live in a place where, you know, all I've got is grass and trees around me? Every time I want to go get a loaf of bread, every time I want to go to a doctor, every time I want to go to a movie, I have to use an automobile to do it. The heck with that. I want to move back into a town where I can go, I can walk, I can go to the cafes, I can go to the movies, I can go to a restaurant, I can have some fun and be part of the world around me again. So we believe completely that suburbs are dead. They're gone. Not right away, of course, but over the next 30, 40 years, you're not going to see that kind of expansion happening anymore. You're going to see retraction. And we expect that policies, all the way from the federal government down, including individuals, are going to be focusing more on the urban centers again. And urban centers are going to experience a rebound.
Are Pennsylvania policies there yet?
Not yet.
What would you like to see if you could tell them to make 2 or 3 changes tomorrow?
Well, I think first I'd like to see a switch, a focus switch, which you might call a paradigm switch, from policies that promote development in the greenfields and get that more focused back into the urban centers and to redevelop the urban centers, which is where all the infrastructure already exists. Why are we building new infrastructure that needs to be replaced over and over and over again when we already have infrastructure in place in urban centers?
And what's preventing...
It's a waste of money.
What's preventing that policy from,
Well,
that paradigm shift from happening now?
I think it's just really, you know, change, movement, change. It takes a while for government, for business to recognize paradigm shifts like that. But if you take a look at the larger urban centers like Chicago, Philadelphia, and New York, you are seeing massive numbers of young people getting out of college or getting away from, you know, graduating high school and so on, moving into these urban centers. They don't want to be in the suburbs. It's nothing to do. You've heard that refrain often enough, and it's true. They want to be where the coffee houses are. And you can see it in Philadelphia, in Center City, Philadelphia, in the past 10 years. You've got 15,000 new people, mostly young, who have moved back into town. It has driven values of properties up. It has driven the value of rentals and so on up. The Center City District in Philadelphia has taken old office buildings and worked with developers to rehabilitate those into apartment buildings. That's what's going on in the city.
Last question. Can you keep those 20-somethings, those young people who want the coffee shops in the city if the schools are going to continue to underperform?
Well, I don't think that we're talking about young people who are all that concerned about raising families at this point. I mean, we're talking about people in their 20s and maybe early 30s. Maybe the early 30s people have some small children, but I don't see them all that concerned about it. If you go into the urban centers, you see young mothers with the strollers and so on. It's a much bigger, much more apparent change in the way young people or the younger generation is viewing the urban centers. You've got the bicycles popping up everywhere. It's really different. And government needs to notice that. They haven't so far.
And that's the last word. Thank you, Sam.